Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rise of Her podcast. I hope you're having the most incredible week and feeling rested and restored coming into this Monday. I really want to dive straight into our episodes. You guys know how I kind of work on these. I just pretty much say hey and let's get straight into it. So I have recently, this is a bit more of a rogue one. Okay, we're going a little rogue. I have recently been questioning, whether or not I can do certain things. Now, I question myself and I question myself and then I, correct myself, obviously. But I really wanted to share that a lot of the time, sometimes you can feel really overwhelmed with everything that you're doing. Like, oh my gosh, can things possibly go right? Please, can something go right for me? And I have been there so many times. But I feel like when you are sitting in that moment where you're like, can I do this? When you're asking yourself if you can truly do something, if you actually believe in yourself and you say to yourself, can I even do this? This is so hard. This is so challenging. I'm struggling so much with this. It's where you really get to see what you're made of. Now, that's what I kind of remind myself every single time that I start to feel like there's all of these things that are piling up on me. And once something is, I think everything's set in stone there, then I could just quit. I'm this is too hard. I could just quit. This is so difficult. I tend to find I have this voice in the back of my head that says, you can't do this. I remember I used to have that voice come up, and that's when I would quit something. I would be like, this is too hard. I can't do it. Let me throw in the towel now. And that was me not backing myself for starters. That was me not backing myself. And that was allowing fear to control what I wanted to do. And then I would feel worse about myself because I never did what I wanted to do. I never did what I said I was going to do. I quit on something that I was working towards. And sometimes I feel like everything's going really, really right. And then sometimes it can change really, really quickly. And like I said, that's when you get to show yourself what you're really made of. I believe that there is a solution for every single problem. And sometimes I just need to get a bit more creative with it. And although I used to look at challenges as something that would hold me back or something that was going to force me to quit something, I then learned that this is a growth opportunity. This is where I get to test some new things out and see how it lands. And I always believe that I'm coming at everything with the best intention. And so a lot of the time it's just being open and being like, okay, this isn't working. How can I pivot? What do I need to change? So, for example, with events, sometimes I feel like I really cannot sell the tickets. I'm like, I don't understand. What am I doing here that is making it so challenging to get people in this room? And sometimes it's the messaging. It's the messaging, and I haven't really articulated what's involved. Sometimes it's I believed that it was worth something more than what it was, or sometimes I just threw something at it and hoped it would work and people would like it. And I believe that is where you just keep pushing. You just keep pushing, and if you have that big vision, you have that big goal, that's what you remind yourself of. Why are you doing this? Like I said with events, I create the events because I love meeting people in person, and I love hanging out with people, and I love to get to know people in real life off the screens, because there is a certain level of interaction that you get in real life that you don't get online. I've done in-person interviews and I've done Zoom interviews, and the energy on an in-person interview is always so much better. There is a purpose behind everything that I do, and I believe that if I can remind myself of that consistently, it usually outweighs that fear. I know a lot of women who are in the similar situation where it feels like things are just too hard and it'll be so much easier just to quit. I want you to remind yourself of why you are doing it, and I want you to remind yourself of the fact that you are capable of doing it. I did post a TikTok the other day which was about pretty much writing down a huge brag list, a list of things that you are proud of yourself for, that people would consider successful, or that you would consider successful, and really be intentional about it. My coach told me to do this, and it completely changed my perspective on a lot of things, including myself. And so I like to look at that list whenever I feel like I'm doubting myself, when I feel like I want to quit. I will remind myself of what I've done and what it took me to get there. A lot of the time there was a lot of, internal shifts where I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't work on this, if I don't be honest with myself and go, okay, how can I change this? How can this look differently? It's not going to work anyway. So I just try to be as honest with myself as possible and be solution driven. Like, how can I solve this problem? There's always a solution out there. There's always someone willing to help you out if you're honest, if your intention is good behind what you're doing. And I believe that mine is. So when I'm putting things out there, I'm like, it's uncomfortable sometimes. It stings a little bit when it's not received the way that you want it to, but I'll just keep trying. And that's what you've got to do as well. You've just got to keep trying. So I hope that this was a good reminder for you to keep going, not to quit on what you're working on, and ask yourself if you're actually putting in as much effort as you believe that you are. That brings us to the end of today's episode. I hope that you got a good little reminder of this. Let me know on Instagram what your key takeaway was, and I will see you again in our next episode. Bye.